an interesting pet? Do you want a pet that varies in color? Do you want a pet that eats crickets? Do you want a pet that is silent but also active? Then you should get a leopard gecko.
Leopard geckos are for beginning lizard owners, and it will be very cheap. The cheapest one is $20.99, basically $21. I know you might think, wow, that's expensive, but you'll only have to pay for the gecko and food in the winter. I have all the other items at my house since I had a gecko, and in the summer you could get crickets, which would be out in the field, or you could get a bucket and put it in the grass and run around with it, and then when you pick it up, there'd be a lot of insects inside. And the water, you could get it from the sink, put it in a jug, and then just let it sit out so then all the chemicals could go off.
In the winter, you have to buy crickets from the store. You have to clean the cage whenever it gets dirty. You might clean it every week, just in case. Every day you should drink its water and see if its food is still alive. Put a rock in the water just above the surface, so if crickets get stuck in the water, they won't drown. It will be able to climb up the rock and hopefully it won't die. At PetSmart, crickets cost 10 cents for a small one and 11 cents for a big cricket. You feed it 5 crickets every other day and 5 papaya cubes. If we have a spider in the room, instead of killing it, we can put it in the gecko's cage to eat. In 1 month, you would only spend $10.50 in the winter. Adding up the food and lizard, it would cost $31.50 the first month you get the gecko. You can also feed it with locusts.
You do not want to hold its tail. If you hold its tail, it might fall off. When it sheds, you want to take care of the skin carefully because it will lose its toes. The reason is that's where all the skin goes down to. You shouldn't squeeze it. You want to try to keep your hands flat when you hold it, but keep your moving but when you're moving and holding it gently, put both your hands around it tight enough to keep a good grip. You have to have a heat lamp. Don't use UV bulbs with the heat lamp.
You don't want to try to watch it eat, or else it won't eat. You don't want to let it out on the carpet unless you have an enclosure where you can put it, because it is very fast and it will slip under doors. A gecko can live for a long time. It lives up to 20 to 30 years, but the world record is 40 years.
When you clean its cage, you want to get the carpet out of the bottom of the tank and wash it every month. But every week you should shake the dung out of the carpet. You clean the cage whenever it gets dirty on the side, or it starts to stink. The gecko and the cage don't usually stink if you take care of them. And the gecko can't be tamed, but it only bites or nips at you if you take your finger for food or if it's agitated.
During break, you can take it home, or actually could stop by and take care. A responsible person should take it home over the summer.
How it helps learning and social problems. You could observe the scales on its head and body, and when it sheds, you could observe the skin. On Hundreds Day, you could observe it for 100 seconds, 100 minutes, or in 100 ways. You learn science, math, literature, plus social skills. Now to social skills. Kids have more time to spend together and interact. They also have to work together to do multiple things, like feeding it and doing science problems. Or if a kid is sad, he could talk to the class pet so it feels like someone is listening to you. And it could also help new students if they're feeling sad or homesick. They could hold the pet and talk to it. The lifespan of gecko could be around 30 years. Although some geckos have claws, most geckos have hairy things on their feet that allows them to go on slippery surfaces and flat surfaces. The one that we found for $21 has the hairy stuff on their feet, not claws. Most geckos have a clear membrane to protect their eyes that they lick to keep clean. They usually grow to 10 inches, although half of this is their tail. They shed their tail, which usually takes about 5 to 7 days or a week. They are a great pet for both first-time reptile owners and experienced collectors.
Nearly all geckos have a voice. Leopard geckos have a small bark. They use agitated. Many geckos lack eyelids, but not leopard geckos. They can even blink and close their eyes while sleeping. Like many lizards, the leopard gecko has a tail that can come off if grabbed by a predator, giving them time to escape. Leopard gecko tails are used as a fat storage in case of food shortages. The tail grows back too. Did you know that leopard geckos differ from other geckos in that they lack adhesive lamina, preventing them to be able to walk up vertical surfaces? Leopard geckos also have outer ears and eyelids to make them distinct from most other geckos.
This is why you should get a leopard gecko. These amazing animals will quickly capture your attention with their looks, and they'll have you falling in love with their personality.
I drew this picture on last night, thinking that it would help out with the presentation.
And one thing to add in, it also helps because if you're too loud, it might die of stress. So you'd have to be more quiet.